Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. This is going to be a meet my horses video, well a meet my current horses video. So I'm going to start with the horses that I've had the longest and just tell you a little bit about each of them and what they're up to. So first up we have my mare Boo Delicious. She is now 16 years old. I bought her when she was a 6-year-old. So we've been together for a decade now, 10 years. Crazy, I can't believe it, like where has the time gone? Boo is definitely the definition of an all-rounder. We did everything together. She would show jump, we would do cross country, we did some eventing, dressage. I even did trick riding with her, riding without the saddle and the bridle. Together we learned to do a lot of tricks. I taught her to lay down, to sit, to bow, to rear. She's really such a good horse. She's really motivated to learn and she just always wants to do her best. And in the 10 years that we have been together, I can literally count on both my hands the number of times she ever refused a jump. She always, apart from in this example, she always wanted to get to the other side for me. So she was a great horse to learn to jump on. She was so brave, she wasn't spooky. She really was such a great teacher for me. So when I got Boo, I was 18 and I lived in Ireland. I then moved with her to England for university where I studied equine sports therapy. Boo and I actually stayed in England for 4 years before I moved to Dubai. Boo obviously came too, to work out there as a therapist. And in that time, I also did my master's in animal chiropractic. And then after 5 years, we decided it was time to move back to greener pastures, so we settled in the Netherlands. Next up, we have my Mare River. She is now 9 years old and she is around 17.1 hands tall. I bought her as an unbroken 3-year-old, as you're seeing here. I actually bought her with the intention of backing her, starting her training, jumping a couple of shows and then actually selling her. Now it is 6 years on and I still have her. She was always great fun to watch when I started her training. She really could buck. She was quite exuberant at the start when I first met her as a 3-year-old. I actually bought River when I still lived in England with Boo. After River was broken in, her and Boo went to Ireland for 6 months while I went on ahead out to Dubai. River then followed me. This is actually her as a rising 5-year-old when she is under saddle. Apart from being a little bit sharp at the beginning of her training when I first met her as a 3-year-old, like when she was actually under saddle, she was such a dream to work with. She always just wanted to do the best she could, what the rider asked. She was very supple and flexible to ride. She was really quite an athlete. She really felt great to sit on the top of. I actually really miss riding her. Who knows, maybe one day in the future I will ride her again. The reason that a few years ago I actually retired her from ridden work was because when I lived in Dubai, she actually got a small injury to her suspensory ligament. She had a lesion, and rather than go through the long rehabilitation process in Dubai, I decided it was better for her to go and live and recover and be a horse and live in a field, not to be cooped up in a box. I had bought her obviously with the intention to originally sell her. Then my plan changed and I actually wanted to keep her as my competition horse. When she got that injury and it was going to limit her possibilities as a competition horse, not that she couldn't be ridden and that she wouldn't recover, but she might not be able to do the level that I had hoped, and rather than sell her, I actually decided to send her to the Netherlands where she could be a brood mare. I would actually love down the line to actually take her back into light work and do a little bit of low-level riding and a little bit of jumping with her. But as it currently stands, her only job is to be a mummy. Here is her last year when she just had her first foal. She had a filly foal. I named her Oceania. This was her when she was a few days old, and this was the first time that she actually went outside. Oceania was born last March in 2019. She is by the stallion called Comme il faut, ridden by Marcus Enning. So I hope in the future, when she's old enough, that she will be a show jumper. This was her and she's a few months old. She lived until she was weaned in the north of the Netherlands. I live in the south of the Netherlands currently. This was her. She was actually on her way to Ireland, so she actually stopped in the south of the Netherlands with us for 2 days, and now she actually lives in Ireland with my boyfriend's family. We didn't actually wean her until she was about 7 months old. At that point, that's when she went to live in Ireland, and she's gonna stay there until she's about 3.5 years old, until she's ready to be backed. Next up we have Urano. He is a 15-2 Dutch warm blood gelding. I bought him when he was 15 years old. This was one of our first shows together. Looks not the nicest. He is actually now 19 years old. So in our early shows together, I remember lots of moments of this where he would just put his head down and I couldn't get his head back up and he would just kind of run away with me. It did get better over time. I bought him knowing that he had been known to stop before in the past. So it definitely kind of taught me how to ride and how to kind of deal with scenarios where a horse might stop with you in the ring and that you have to kind of compose yourself and continue. So that's definitely one thing that he really helped me to learn. Saying that, even though he did have a slight reputation for stopping, he really would forgive you. I mean, you could come close, you could come far, and he would really try to help you out if he could. I had never done an international show before I bought Urano. I had only ever jumped 2 120 classes in my life before I got him, so to do 2 seasons at 120 with him was like such an amazing experience for me, something I dreamed my whole life of doing. And I actually jumped my first 1m30 classes with him as well. Having Urano was definitely what helped me catch the show jumping bug. I'd always loved jumping and cross country, but because I had Boo and she didn't have the biggest jump in the world, we kind of did a little bit of everything. So it was really great to have Urano to get experience in pure show jumping. I got loads of experience thanks to Urano. I really did learn so much from him. That was the 1m50 joker fence in an international show that we did. He was the first horse I kind of ever really jumps that were kind of big with, so he was really like an important part of my journey. Urano is fully leased out to one of my best friends. Her name is Harriet. Harriet and Urano are still in Dubai together. He's enjoying a much easier and relaxed lifestyle nowadays as he is a slightly older gentleman. In most of these jumping clips you've seen of him, actually, he's around 17 or 18 years old. I definitely don't think that he looks his age anywhere. Next up is Gabbana. I bought her when she was 7 years old. This was one of our first rides together. See, she's a little bit spooky, a little bit green. She was quite green as a 7-year-old. Now she's 9. I have had her for 2 years. In the beginning of our time together, she could be a little bit quirky and a little bit sharp. That kind of side of her didn't really stick around for too long. Now she's honestly so trainable, she's so rideable. I've made plenty of mistakes on her and she has always just gone to the other side. She's so careful, she's so brave. She's been really a great next horse for me. So far we've competed up to 1m25 together. I hope in the not too distant future to do some 130 classes. Gabbana stands at about 17 hands tall. As a 7-year-old she was quite big and weak and gangly. Now as a 9-year-old her balance is slowly improving and developing, so I hope in the future we will have the chance to jump some bigger stuff, who knows? With the current COVID-19 situation, I don't think we'll be doing any shows for a few months at least. Our last show was in October, November time last year. I haven't had the chance to show her that much just because I don't have my own transport, and I was spending 1 week out of 3 in the Middle East doing chiropractic treatments. So I didn't have a lot of time to get out and about to shows with her, but we've been doing a lot of training at home. Of all the horses that I've ever ridden or jumped, Gabbana is definitely one of my favourites, if not my favourite. In the past, especially with Urano and him having stopped occasionally throughout our time together, it was really such a great experience to have her because she always was only ever thinking about getting to the other side of the jump. She's been such a super partner to have over the last few years, and I really can't wait for more years to come with her. She's so honest and she's so forgiving, and I really do just enjoy every single day with this mare. Next up we have Brad. I came to meet this horse in August of 2019. When my boyfriend and I met him, he had been emaciated previously. We don't know much of anything about his past. So when I met him in 2019, he was 10, so he's now 11 years old. He stands at 17 2 hands tall. He's also quite a big horse. So it became clear to me when I met him in 2019 that he was a horse that was a long way off being ready to be ridden. He was very weak physically. A lot of the first few months we had this horse was just groundwork. He actually had just time off in the field in the initial 2-3 months. There was definitely a lot involved in just getting this horse physically strong because he had been emaciated and had been so weak. He had no top line, his core was basically non-existent. We had to do a lot of long reining, a lot of slow hacking. He did a lot of stretching exercises. I would do a lot of belly lifts, butt tucks with him, a lot of carrot stretches, anything that I could do to improve his core strength. Obviously we live in the Netherlands, so hill work's not an option. I always made sure to do a lot of transitions when I was working him on the ground, and also I incorporated some pull work. So it's actually only since the start of 2020 that I've actually started to ride him. I don't know anything about his past. He was quite tense about being ridden. It was quite difficult to get him to relax. So we've just really been taking it slow, working on walk-trot transitions, walk-halt transitions. In the beginning, he didn't really have any understanding for seat or the leg. It's very difficult for him still to kind of carry himself. You can see there in the canter he's a little bit weak. He finds it hard to balance himself. He's a little bit snatchy. So he's still a long way off being ready to jump with the rider. You can see there he breaks out of the canter back to a trot. He's still quite a long way off being ready to jump with the rider. The flat work still needs a lot of work. He needs to still get stronger in his core. He still finds it difficult to carry and engage himself. So he still needs a lot more time to get stronger physically, but I would love in the future to do some competitions with him. We have loose jumped him and he really seems to have quite an ability. As well as that, he also has quite a character. There is never a dull moment on the yard with Brad. I left him alone for 1 minute here to go and turn off a hose, and I come back. He was wearing that rug when I left, so I'm not quite sure how he did that. He did also have the MAGNAWAVE machine on him, so I'm not sure if his little pony friend helped. I did as much as I could to help him physically. I gave him regular chiropractic and therapy treatments. He had a lot of sports massage. I did dry needling. I also used the MAGNAWAVE machine regularly. I will make a video very soon about what that is and why it's good for our horses. I will post more about Brad in the future as we slowly start to do more and more with this very special character. And next up we have Fernanda. She is a 3-year-old mare. She was unbroken when I bought her. This was the first day I ever met her. This is her then a few months later in March of this year. At the moment, Fernanda stands at about 16 2 hands tall. This footage is actually from the first day I ever met her. Instantly fell in love with this young mare when I met her. She was very athletic and she had a wonderful temperament. The plan with Fernanda is just to get her riding very lightly just before the summer, and then I hope over the summer she's going to be able to travel up to the north of Holland to stay where my Mare River is. I'd like her to stay there until she's ready to start her career as a 4-year-old. I would love to produce her through the young horse classes and see how it goes. The goal would be to eventually sell her to her forever home. At this early stage, thankfully, it's all went very swimmingly. She's been very, very calm the first twice I sat on her, so I'm really looking forward to the future with this one. And last but not least, to the future, I am looking forward to the arrival of 2 new foals this year. My Mare River is going to have her second foal. The sire is Dallas VDL. This is him jumping now. River is due to foal in April, so it really could be any day now. I don't know if the foal is going to be a colt or a filly yet, but I am very excited to meet him or her, and I just hope for a healthy birth, and I hope that River is safe. I'm also really looking forward to the birth of Gabbana's foal. Her foal is due in May. Gabbana herself isn't pregnant. Her foal is being born via a surrogate mare, so I'm really excited to meet her first foal. And I look forward to hopefully introducing all you guys to the 2 new foals this year. Hopefully they are born safe, happy and healthy without any complications. That's all I'm hoping for. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much.